Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Nzingha Dalila, and I'm here today in my little quiet place to talk about how you can treat yourself when you're experiencing depression. I understand that a lot of us are feeling down due to coronavirus and isolation, and I call it isolation depression because we're very immobile. And when our mind isn't active, when we're not engaged in socializing with others, when we're not feeling a sense of purpose and action in our lives, and we're very still, stillness can be very healthy and necessary for well being. But when we're kind of forced in isolation and not a lot of exercise, not a lot of mobility, not a lot of engagement and excitement in our life, physically, energetically, we become very still and stunted in our energy to the point where we become emotionally and psychologically depressed. Our energy comes down and we're not producing enough neurotransmitters actually to feel up and energized and optimistic. And all of those things contribute to a feeling of depression and being feeling a lack of motivation when you feel depressed, not feeling any kind of excitement or happiness or joy in things that we normally would feel happy and joyous about. These are signs of feeling depressed, feeling pessimistic, looking at everything kind of as a glass half full or half empty, so to speak, than half full. But thinking about feeling down makes us feel very pessimistic about ourselves, about everything. Everything seems to have like a gray cloud over it. We're seeing the world through a very um, foggy, dark lens. And we start to have very dark thoughts. We think that nothing will ever get better. We can't even really think clearly when we're depressed. Everything becomes very sad, very negative. And when you become depressed, you engage in unhealthy behaviors such as substance use, oversleeping, overeating, all those kinds of things. And you don't have any motivation to get up in the morning. You just want to lay in bed and be quiet, and you don't want to engage with anyone. Um, those are all parts of our uh, depression. It keeps you down, it keeps you wanting to be still. So, being isolated, being down, not being active, being still for too long can actually activate a lot of the chain reactions or cascades of neurochemicals and energetic responses that makes us feel very depressed and very down. Again, you can be crying, you can be arguing, you can be angry. All of these things are pain that we experience when we're down. And ultimately, these negative thoughts can result in thoughts of suicide. So it's very, very important that we think about how we can begin to work our way out of feeling depressed. And I say work because it is work, because all of this depression really comes down on us, makes us want to have negative thoughts, makes us tired, makes us sleepy, makes us inactive, makes us unmotivated, causes us confusion in our thinking, and you have to work out of it. Just like if you think about it when you're very tired and you know you have to get up and you have to force yourself to get up and start moving. We have to do that when we're depressed in order to get up out of that depression. And one thing that I want to share with you is something that I put together, and you might have heard of a mental health first aid kit. And so I really encourage everyone to think about doing something like this. When we have, most of the time, everyone has a first aid kit for physical injuries. Perhaps you have one in your home. There's usually one somewhere in a place of business in case someone has an accident. You might have one in your car just in case. Um, so if someone has a burn or some kind of puncture or scrape or something, and someone needs some immediate need before they can get to help. Now, maybe this immediate first time first aid remedy will just be all you need, and then you can just go on with your life. Or perhaps it's something more serious, and the first aid kit is there to kind of staunch any injuries, stabilize the person physically so that they can safely get to somewhere where they can get more intensive medical care. Well, think of a first aid, a mental health first aid kit as something like that. And so I put something together that I thought would be good for me and my mental health first aid. And what I did was I took primarily, try to get in the camera, it's a shoebox. And I thought, well, if I'm depressed, I really need to make sure this has to help me in a short term to kind of recalibrate and get stabilized, to lift up my moods and feel happy. And so what I did was I got some wrapping paper. I got a shoebox and I got some wrapping paper, and that's some happy paper, and I put that around, and I found some stickers. You're probably wondering, what is that? If you could see that. These are little butterfly stickers. So they're little butterflies all over my box. So just looking at the box starts to make me happy, and it stands out. So I know if I'm feeling depressed, I'm going to find this box. Just like a first aid, a medical first aid box is usually kind of red, or it's got a red cross on it or something like that, so people know immediately that that's what you need to get if someone's injured. Well, I know immediately to get this box because it's a very happy box. And what I did was I went to a Dollar General store, a Dollar Tree, and got some really very inexpensive things, because I thought what makes me happy really right away is when I get into a very playful mood, when I get into what I call my little child self, my little Nzingha. And I want things around me that remind me of happiness and joy and playfulness. So I want to show you some things. My box is pretty full of toys. And they're toys. What I did was I just went through Dollar General and I found things that I thought would make me very happy. Just to stimulate my senses, get those neurotransmitters activated and going and thinking and doing some happy things. So I'm going to pull some of these things out. I've got this, I just picked this up. It just made me happy when I looked at it. It's rainbow colored, it's squishy. So I like the feel of it. I like the look of it. It makes me happy. I got another little ball. This is a little tighter feel to play with. This, it's a little, it says it's a little sound. So, so it makes all these funny little sounds, and I thought it was kind of cute. I thought I might want to do some activities. So something that didn't actually fit in my box, there's a couple of things that didn't actually fit in my box, but I put them near my box. Again, very playful activities. So I got a little child book because I don't want to think heavy thoughts. I don't want to worry about things. I want to think happy thoughts. I want to be playful. And so I got a little child activity book. And what better to work on my activity book with a big, crazy pen? It actually writes, but it's big and goofy. It's beautiful. It's fun. So I have my wonderful pen with my wonderful activity book. And if I want to color, I have some crayons. Because I also think that the tactile stimulation of working with crayons, like when I was a little girl, is very fun. And you might even want to go and get some of those really big fat stickers, crayons. I mean, really, the more that you engage your senses and stimulate your mind and think about being playful, the better. Uh, got some things that, I don't know if you can see this as well. It lights up. I can get it to light up. Really pretty. Again, that's very fun. It's just a fun thing to do. When you want to raise your spirits, when you want to come out of your depression, I don't want to be thinking about trying to do something that's productive and beneficial. It's going to help other people. I'm really focusing on just having fun. Children, they just have fun. They just want to spend time enjoying themselves. Another thing to do is I think one of the most wonderful things to do when you need to lift your spirits is blow some bubbles. I think that's a wonderful thing to do. So that and it's a wonderful thing. So I've got my little bubble gun and my bubbles. And if I really want to take some deep breaths and also have a great time, then I've got my big bubbles. Let's see, I didn't open that up, but I get it. There they are. So I've got my big bubbles. So that is fun, and you're taking big breaths. When you take big breaths, that's very relaxing, very energizing at the same time. If I'm sitting here in my little space by myself, and again, I want to have some fun, and I'm really getting in touch with my child self and having a good time, I might want to play cards, but I'm not going to get one of those old fuddy-duddy bicycle decks. I'm getting a deck of cards with beautiful pictures, puppies, and all kind of clowns and things like that. So I can play cards like that. And I put it back in my rubber band. Also, I've got some markers in my mental health first aid kit. And I also found, again, these are things that I just picked up, thought they made me happy. If I want to read, I've got a little book. It's called Davy, the Dragon Who Was Afraid. It was a sweet book, and I thought, little Nzingha, might like to read a little book. And one other thing I want to share with you, this is something that my daughter sent to me for Mother's Day, and I told her she was going to be in my mental health first aid box. So didn't quite fit in the shoe box, but that's a good thing. So I have her anyway. These are a few things that I have, and I hope you can tell that me just opening them up and playing with them really lift my spirits. I could stay in here and be in here for as long as I want to until I start to, feel my energy lift. I start to feel a little brighter, a little happier, a little more hopeful, a little more optimistic. I could stay in here, and when I'm done, when I'm feeling better, pack it all up, put it away, but put it someplace where I can get to it if I need it again. And if I need more help, if I feel like that's not helping, then I know that I probably need, maybe I'm stabilized enough to reach out and talk to someone, a professional who could help me get more help that I need. So I hope that this little minute has been helpful to you. I hope you all to have a wonderful, joyous day. For help with isolation, depression, coronavirus anxiety, or any other mental health concern, contact Counseling Services for individual counseling, consultations, or referrals at ndalila@antiochcollege.edu.